And we're recording, and welcome everybody to an info session on Demetra George's upcoming astrology retreat this fall in Portland, Oregon. This is their second annual Hellenistic astrology retreat, and this year we're going to be focusing on Time Lords. So really cool topic, and Demetra's going to have tons of info to share with you. So much info that we thought it'd be great to offer you this info session to kind of break things down for you and tell you what to expect, how the week's laid out. It's a very special, unique kind of workshop in a lot of ways. So we'll be telling you all about that today. So thanks for taking time out, Demetra, of your busy schedule to join us today.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for showing up, and also for those of you who will be listening to the recording afterwards. The Hellenistic astrology retreats are the current evolution of an idea I had 10 or 12 years ago, when many of us were in the first stages of our excitement around Hellenistic astrology due to the translations that were coming out. And I had this vision of wanting to have a Friends of Vettius Valens summer coastal camp out on the Oregon coast where I live. So what we've gotten so far is a wonderful retreat in Portland, and this will be the second year that we're doing that. And we're spending 5 intensive days from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. immersing ourselves in the techniques and procedures of ancient astrologers and trying to glean from that how we can use that material to strengthen and improve our current practices. As some of you know, that Hellenistic material, okay, you have a different screen on, Tony, now. The Hellenistic material was not available for the astrological community to even look at until the mid-1990s, because it had been literally lost in translation, buried in ancient languages in archives and monasteries and library collections throughout Europe. But due to an effort of both scholars and astrologers, this material has been dug up. It's been an archaeology dig and has been translated into English. And for the first time in over 2,000 years, the astrological community can access many of the procedures, techniques, concepts of the way our predecessors did astrology. And one of the things that we've discovered is that there are a host of timing techniques that are relatively unknown to modern practitioners. This was partially due to the Greek got translated into Latin and then Persian and then Arabic and then back into Latin and Spanish and French and German. And with each culture over 2,000 years that attempted to understand, revise, reduplicate the material, certain concepts got dropped out. But now that we have the original manuscript translations, we see that there are well over a dozen timing techniques that are unique to the ancient time period. Today, most astrologers use transits as their primary go-to timing mechanism. Some may use secondary progressions or the solar return chart. And certainly in the ancient material, they did use transits, and there's a little bit about progressions, but transits were used as the final step in a sequence of half a dozen other time lords that were used first to get the overall indicators. And in some ways similar to the Hindu dasha methods, where the life is divided up into chapters, each under the jurisdiction of a different planet, so that during the first 7 years, you're under the influence of Mars, and the next 14 might be Jupiter, and so on. Hellenistic astrology also has these Time Lord sequences. And depending on how that planet is situated in each person's natal chart informs the kinds of events or themes or influences that are most prevalent during the period of life when that planet becomes a Time Lord. And so then we start from the broadest and then go to the more specific, and then the transit to the final piece in the process that are the triggers. So the way we're going to do this workshop is in some ways following the format of last year that was highly successful, and that each day I will introduce a different Time Lord technique. The 5 major ones we'll be doing are circumambulations through the bounds. They give the broadest indicators, timing by planetary periods and ascensional times, zodiacal releasing from the lots of spirit and fortune, annual profections, and the solar return chart. So each day in the morning, I'll introduce and teach one of the methods and then illustrate it with a sample chart. Then the second part of each day is the group being divided into small groups, and you'll take a second chart where you will replicate the method and then present your findings to the group. And then the last part of each day is your opportunity to do this with your own chart and then bring it to myself and to Alex Garrett, who will be my teaching assistant, and have us check your work to see that you are doing the procedure correctly and to answer any questions that you have. So in the course of each day, you will go through 3 to 4 charts practicing the method, and by the end of that day, you will have a sense of feeling comfortable of what to do next. And then I had given out about maybe 50 or more pages of handouts with tables and worksheets and complete instructions. So if all of a sudden someone panicked and got lost, it was like, look at what it says in number 3, and they go, oh yes, and then they could pick up with the method. So it's that way of teaching that I'll be bringing into the course of an intensive. And the sense of community and is wonderful that's built with everyone working together and everyone helping each other out. So that's my overview. Plus we have like wonderful food, lunch and breakfast that's provided every day by our venue that is locally sourced, organic, and caters to all kinds of special diets. So I might pause here now and see if you have questions, and Marcia, if you would like to say a few words about your experiences last year. And so far about close to half of the people who came last year have registered again for the second retreat. That speaks to their excitement and to the value that they felt they gained from the experience.
Thanks, Demetra. Yeah, and I'll just reiterate too that you know, with the TA in the classroom as well as the other students, this is a really unique workshop compared to other. I've been to a lot of astrology events myself, and this is really like a classroom. Like you're really gonna get exposed to these techniques in a way that's not just someone talking and it all sits in your head, and then you get home and you start to apply it and you're like, wait a minute. So in Demetra's class, you're going to get you have a TA there to ask questions, you know, to kind of sidebar with while Demetra's teaching and during the breaks. And Alex is really, really great. She can really break things down for you in an easy to understand way. And then you'll have really breakout time in the afternoons as well to practice and apply the technique with other students. And I think that's what makes this particular workshop so valuable, because these techniques are difficult to integrate once you start, especially, you know, we're going to be learning 5 major timing techniques at least. And once you start layering those on top of each other, it doesn't take long before your brain gets full. So having time in the afternoon to apply it and then work with it, you'll get to reach those spots that you would normally reach at home and not be able to ask anybody for help. So that's really great. I have an image up here of the Kennedy School in Portland, Oregon. The Kennedy School is a really unique, it's a really unique venue as well for the retreat. So this is an old elementary school that's been converted into a huge entertainment complex. So it includes a hotel, it includes several little restaurants, an atrium restaurant in the center of the place that's really beautiful. It's got a wading pool, it's got a movie theater. So it's pretty crazy. And we're in one of the old classrooms that's basically just been restored to its original state. It's got the original chalkboard on the wall, which Demetra loves. So for those who were with us last year, we were in the smaller library venue, which was really lovely and quaint. We're in a little bit bigger classroom this year. So we'll actually have more chalkboard space, which is great. Because Alex draws these nice diagrams on the chalkboard, and we kind of all fill out the diagram together as we're going. So that works really well. The Kennedy School, another thing I'll say is that, like Demetra said, you're going to have lunch catered every day. And it's also just a couple of blocks down from this really awesome local health food store, grocery store called New Seasons, where you can get just about anything you want. They have a great deli as well. So after class, if you want to walk over there with some friends and continue your chat, that's available, as well as a couple of, there's plenty of restaurants within blocks of the place as well. And then you're very close to Alberta Street, which is a very long retail street in Portland, where you can walk for about 33 blocks and just get anything that you would need. So it's a great location. Also happens to be only about 15-minute drive from the airport. So if you're just flying in for the retreat, it's really conveniently located. The Kennedy School, we do have a block of about 5 rooms. It's very difficult to get rooms at the Kennedy School because it's always booked up, and the rooms are a little pricey, but you could share the rooms with a student. But really what most people enjoy doing is staying at an Airbnb, because this location is also in the middle of a really lovely neighborhood in Portland, where you can get a real feel for a local neighborhood in Portland, and there's lots of Airbnbs within walking distance that are very affordable. So Pamela says, 2 quick questions. Please remind me of the fee for the week and also the level of astrological experience you think is appropriate as a prerequisite background. I'll let Demetra answer that. I'll give you the logistics, but as far as the prereqs, I will just say that we have 2 audio programs that you can download and listen to that include handouts. One is called Traditional Astrology 101, and the other is Traditional Astrology 201. And if you go through those, you'll be up to speed enough to really participate in this year's event. And the 201 class is even going to introduce you to a couple of these techniques, so you'll get to get sort of an intro to them. Here are some of those other logistics that you just asked for. So we've got the dates and times here. It's 5-day retreat. It's full days every day, October 5th through 9th. And it's starts at 9 p.m. Starts at 9 a.m. and goes to 5 p.m. every day with a lunch break, and of course breaks in between as well. And it goes over a weekend. We got the address here. So we have a rate of $995 if you register before June 15th, and after that it goes up to $1,095. And Demetra, do you want to say anything else about the prerequisites, or what someone would need to get up to speed?
I would hope that everyone knows planet signs, houses, and aspects, which is your basic astrology 101, and that you've had experience in looking at charts. Even if you haven't read charts for people, you're familiar with the process. And I would say that that is the basic foundation that you should come into the class with. Once I had someone show up just for a Hellenistic lecture, and they were waiting for me to explain what the glyphs were for the signs. And I said, I think you need a little bit more to do. But planet signs, houses, aspects are fine. And then the timing mechanisms, Ideally, I would like you to be able to look at an ephemeris, but an ephemeris actually isn't necessary for many of the timing techniques that we will be doing. And we were trying to make sense of that, but realizing in the ancient time period, the accurate calculation of planetary orbits was a challenge. And so timing techniques were developed that didn't necessarily necessitate that. So it will be fascinating for you to be exposed to a number of timing techniques where some, all you have to do is to be able to count on your fingers. But it's nice to know what an ephemeris is and to be able to read it just so that you can see what's going on Hellenistically, and then also in the back of your mind, because most of us use transits, to also have the wherewithal to double check that with transit activations that you are aware of for certain time periods. And what you will have the opportunity to do is to look at your life as a whole using these different timing methods. And so one of the things that I want you to do, and I'll be sending out forms in the summer with your registration, is to create a year-by-year timeline for yourself with each year of your life and whatever you remember happening that year, of putting it in the boxes so that you have those specific dates at hand. So then when we land on these critical timing periods, you immediately can access what was going on in your life. So in addition to learning timing techniques, what this will be a sort of review of your life, a review and reflection of the major movements of your life.
Right. Thanks, Demetra. I do have some more details here. Marcia's already paid her deposit and is asking when she should submit the final payment. And Marcia, I'll get you those dates. I believe that it's in the realm of 45 days before the event, but I will dig that out before we finish up, or I'll email you for sure. But let's just check out this next slide here, where I've got some more details that might answer some more questions that you have. So we do serve some snacks for breakfast. If you like to eat kind of a regular, well, I'm calling it a regular breakfast or like a hearty breakfast, we just recommend that you eat breakfast before you show up. But the Kennedy School serves us some fruit and I believe some bread. They also do some homemade granola bars on one of the days. Mm-hmm. And then lunch daily is usually a soup and salad, and the soup is different every day. It's very hearty soup. I think we had no complaints about the food at all, and then we kind of do a bigger Mexican feast on the last day, which is really, really great. To register, we just have a $250 deposit to hold your spot today if you'd like to register or sign up. And here's the cancellation policy as well. So $100 of your registration fee is non-refundable, and the balance is refundable, the balance paid. So if you send in a $250 deposit and for some reason you have to cancel, we'll refund $150 through June 15th. And then all payments are non-refundable after September 2nd. So if you do have to cancel for some emergency after September 2nd, we don't offer refunds, but we do record the whole event, and we get any student who is registered all of the recordings, including all the handouts and written material, and access to us to ask questions as well. So we already talked about the lodging, and I just talked about the audio recordings, which we get to everybody, and we talked about the prereqs. So I think that's pretty much all of the questions here. What software, we have a question, Demetra, from Mary maybe, or Mayor. What software are you using for Time Lord calculations?
Well, for the Hellenistic Time Lords, I use the Delphic Oracle. However, and both Solar Fire and one of the serious Kepler software programs also have calculations for some of the Time Lord sequences. But for everyone who attends, I'll be running all the Time Lord lists for all the techniques we're using for your chart. And then after that, you may inquire about the Delphic Oracle or consult with your reps for Solar Fire. There might be, I think, a medieval program, Janus, that might have some of the timing techniques as well, and get some tech help on how to access those so that they do exist in the other software programs.
And I think even Sirius has
yes, Sirius does. And then there's a wonderful app for zodiacal releasing from Fortune and Spirit. That's a free app that we'll have available, and I'll show you how to work, and it makes it quite simple to see what's going on with that. So you don't need anything special for perfections of the solar return. We have the app for zodiacal releasing. I'll give you handouts for the ascensional times of the signs and the bounds. So it's primarily the circumambulations that necessitates one of these computer programs.
Great, good question, thanks. And Marcia, are you ready for us?
Well, okay. You can hear me?
We can hear you just fine. That's great. And so
okay.
We have a student here who attended last fall, or it was actually last summer. And we just thought it'd be nice if you heard directly from a student about what they experienced. So Marcia's going to share her experience with us. And feel free to just tell us anything you'd like to share that you think might help other students who are considering coming this year.
Well, definitely what Tony says about your brain being full is true. It will be so jammed at the end of each and every day that you will wonder how you're going to remember anything from the next morning. But because of the step-by-step intensive nature of the way Demetra presents things, you will remember surprisingly quite a lot.
Cool. That's really good to hear. That's really good to hear. That's our intention, and that's kind of what we'd hope. So Demetra put a lot of thought into how to plan the course so that students could actually retain the information, and that's really special.
I know. I'm always so stressed that people may feel they're not getting value for their money. So
I found it does help to be, to familiarize yourself with the planets, the signs, just so that you know their names, because the Hellenistic material has slightly different meanings. Let's just say that modern house meanings and modern sign meanings have morphed over the centuries away from what was in the original source texts. So you need to sort of empty your brain of a lot of the 20th and 21st century stuff before taking this up. But just know, as Demetra says, what the glyphs look like. And know that the aspects we'll be dealing with are the so-called Ptolemaic aspects, your conjunctions, oppositions, trines, squares, and sextiles. And that's it.
Cool. Well, thanks so much, Marcia. Really appreciate you taking some time out to share your feedback. And we have another student here from last summer who's going to share a few words. And so I'm going to unmute Danny as well. Here we go. Thanks for joining us, Danny.
Okay, can you see me?
We sure can. It looks like you're en route.
Yeah, I work in a warehouse where we take stuff the community doesn't need anymore and give it to artists. So I'm calling in from New York.
Oh, cool. Thanks so much.
Yeah, so I can't see myself talking, so I'm just going to try to do this. I just want to echo what Marcia said. I was blown away by how much I remembered. I was just like, wow. Oh, wow. And, the thing I want to say about the way Demetra teaches is she's got this Goldilocks approach where it's not too much and it's not too little. It's just right. And she really last summer just took us through all of the big the big aspects of the ancient doctrines. So I'm really excited about the Time Lord techniques. And, you know, I think the other thing that was really incredible was getting to sit in a room with a bunch of other astrologers for 5 days. And that was just amazing. We all came from different parts of the country, and we all came together, and we all just like looked at charts together for 5 days, and it was really amazing.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Danny. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you. And Marcia, thanks for,
Bye.
Thanks for checking in. All right. Here we go. And thanks again, Marcia. All right, cool. Well, thanks, folks, for coming today. If you have any other questions about the event, feel free to pop those in the chat window. I'm happy to answer any questions that have come up or anything that you would like to know. Demetra, do you have anything else you'd like to share before we finish up today?
Right. Well, for those of you who have not been to Oregon before or to Portland, the Pacific Northwest welcomes you, and we all love the place where we live and are so happy to be able to share it. So it's a interesting neighborhood, a great town, and if you take another day or two, you can go to the mountains, to the ocean, and to see the incredible beauty that abounds in Oregon. So I would welcome you to our state.
Great. So I have a link here. It's kind of a crazy link, as you see, for registration, but you can also find this easily on Demetra's website. If you just click through to her schedule and to the event itself, you can just click on the link. You don't have to write this whole thing down. If you would also just like to email me if you can't find it, my email address is tony@astrologyuniversity.com, and happy to help you if you come up with other questions as well. If you would like to, one student last year, rather than paying the whole registration in one lump sum, paid like monthly, and you can start now and just kind of there's a button on the website. You can use the same button to pay the deposit, to pay $250 each month until you've paid the balance. And I can help you figure that out too. If you have questions about that, the timing should work out kind of just right. If you register now, and you could make those monthly payments up until the event and be all paid up by the time you came to class. So if you have any other questions at all, please let us know. And again, Demetra, thanks a lot for taking time out to tell us about the retreat. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm sure
wildly excited about it. So yeah. It was such a beautiful experience last year, and we're all anticipating a lovely experience again.
Awesome. All right, so thanks for joining us today, everybody. I'm going to actually have this recording up on YouTube later, if you'd like to rewatch and share with anybody that you think might be interested in attending the retreat. So thanks for...
I just saw Inga said.
Yeah, Inga said thank you. Yeah. So thanks everybody who showed up, and I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now and say goodbye for now, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, bye.